Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a viewer requested topic video. Red October wanted to know what my thoughts are on how should the Walking Dead television series eventually come to its end. Right, so I'm always looking on YouTube for good topics for videos, and I think this one is actually a great one, so I want to thank YouTube user Red October for suggesting it, and also for everyone else who thumbed it up, all 18 of you by the time I checked it. Probably be more than that when you're looking back if you check. But anyway, this is a bit of a loaded question. I have done a video similar to this before in how will it end, or how I think it will end. This one is basically, he's asking my ideal, so how would I like it to end? Just a TV series. We won't talk about the comic book series because that's its own thing, and you know how it's going to go. So here's exactly what he wrote: was how would you like to see the TV series come to an end? And then he has three questions, three possibilities for what he thinks. So it's a bit of a loaded question. The first one is, would you like to see there be some kind of cure, or cure for the zombie illness or for the Walker disease before the end of the series? Two, would you like to see other groups or communities come together for a final battle or joining of societies? And three, who would you like to see as a leader or leaders when humanity starts to rebuild eventually? So this is kind of one that I touched on a little bit when I was talking about whether or not AMC will kill Rick off in the TV series, which I did a video for. I'll put the link to that, I suppose, in an annotation right here when I get around to it. And so you can click there if you want to hear my thoughts on what I think is eventually going to happen with Rick. But in terms of what I would enjoy to watch the most, or my ideal type end for what I think we could see, to go over your questions first. Number one, would I like to see a zombie cure before the series ends? This one's a tough one. This is one that I've heard a lot of people talk about, a lot of people interested in whether or not the characters in the Walking Dead series will ever get to a cure or something like that. And my simple answer for that is no, I would not. I think that in the TV series, Jenner was the closest that we'll ever see to a doctor or somebody coming up with some kind of answer to the zombie infection. And his loss, I view as basically the loss of that entire concept. The fact that he was not able to do it, I think, to me, covered that whole section or way of thinking for the Walking Dead TV series in terms of a cure. It's not World War Z. The Walking Dead is more realistic than that, in that I view it as unrealistic that in a zombie apocalypse you would be able to come up with some kind of cure or disease to cure the dead, or anything of the sort, to stop them from attacking you, to stop them from, they'll eat horses, they'll eat anything they can find that has flesh on it. So I don't like any of those types of ideas, and I don't think they're realistic for The Walking Dead, and they don't fit within the world of The Walking Dead. I don't think so. So no, I would not like to see any kind of disease. About the best thing you can find in terms of a character that is scientific or intelligence is Eugene in the comic book series right now being able to cast bullets. I think that is about the limit of how far I would like to see that whole scientific, exploration type of thing in the Walking Dead TV series. Being able to cast bullets is very, very useful, because then you can replenish your ammunition and you can just lay out walkers like they're nothing. And that's as far as I'd like to see some kind of scientific answer or cure for the zombies. But I would not like to see them be able to inject someone with something that will counteract or fight off the virus to stop them from dying, or to rejuvenate them after they've turned into a walker. Their body starts to decompose right away. I don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like the whole idea. So I would not like to see number one. Number two, would you like to see other groups or communities come together for a final battle or joining of societies? I think that's where we're going. In the long term, yes, I would like to see that. I think that the reason why we follow Rick, and I talked about this in my When Rick Will Eventually Die video, I believe the reason why we follow Rick is because he is intended to jumpstart society again. So he is basically, we're seeing the start of this, I think, in the comic book series, at least to a degree, with Negan, which is that Rick is starting to join different communities together to fight against this force that Negan has created himself and all of his men. And I think we'll see that in the TV series eventually. But further on down the road, I think we'll see bigger communities start to bloom, like huge ones with thousands of survivors. We'll see some wars in between them and in a zombie apocalypse. And I think eventually, yeah, the purpose or my ideal end would be if Rick, let's say in season 20 of the TV series, 15 to 20, something like that, if we get a really long time out of it, he ends up eventually, putting together a huge community of at least 1,000 survivors, which is humongous, right? A huge terrain, a big sealed off couple, humongous type of infrastructure that they build to live in with farmland or the ability to grow food, the ability to replenish their ammunition like in the comic book series, and basically get society jump started again to the point where they can kind of live in relative peace. I mean, the zombies will always be there, but in the end, I think we'll get to a point where the zombies are no longer a significant threat to the society that Rick is to build eventually. That would be my ideal end, to see him build this society and him be the sole leader, at least for most of it. If they want to put together, a group like a democratic type system where you have a group of people that vote on things. That's a good idea. I like that, like what they had at the prison. A council, this type of thing. If they want to rebuild something like that. But have Rick be sort of like the leader of the council, that type of thing, or have him be like the chair or the administrator who brings up issues and his vote is the same as everyone else's, but he's kind of like the head honcho organizer type guy. I would like to see that, and then in the end, eventually, I would like to see the series in its final episode have Rick eventually get bitten in some way, shape, or form after he has rebuilt this whole thing and everything is good for everybody and it seems like there's no threat or anything, have him somehow be bitten and us witness from a first-person perspective the change in him becoming a walker and have Carl put him down. I think that would be your final scene, for the series. That would be an amazing ending, just to have him see the transformation and then eventually see him wake up. First person view, have him attack Carl, have Carl crying the whole bit, and then have Chandler Riggs pull the trigger and put Rick down and the screen go black, and that be it. That'd be the end. That would be like an ideal end for me. Or if you wanted to do it like this, you could do that and then you could have a new series start with Carl as your lead character. That type of thing. I guess it wouldn't have to be season 20 if they did that. They could do that in season anywhere after 10 to 15. I would be happy with that. And then if they were to start another series with Chandler Riggs as the protagonist, as the lead character, I think that would be really, really cool. But just to kind of give you a visual of what I would envision for a final definitive scene, that's what I would want to see. That's my ideal end, because there's a lot of reasons why that's the perfect ending. Rick has accomplished everything he would have set out to, even more than he thought he would. He'd be able to build this society, get humanity jump-started again in the recovery against a zombie apocalypse. So in that way, he would have accomplished, not that he's a chosen one or anything, because he's lost his wife, he's lost the baby, he's lost all these things, or at least at that point he may have. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, he will have accomplished all these tremendous things, and in that he will have instilled hope in everybody and gotten society back up and running when they were on the verge of defeat so many times, and he didn't give up. It would have basically, his life would be complete at that point, I think. And the reason for us to follow him as a main character would feel like it was worth it to follow the series for 15 years or 10 years or 20 years, whatever the case may be, because look at what he went through and look at what he was able to accomplish. That would make him the ideal type protagonist in the end, which he is now already, but in the end that would make him the ideal protagonist for the series like this. And then the reason why I would pick the whole him turning into a walker thing is because it kind of be like sealing the deal, you know. You could even have him die of natural causes. You know, you could have him, you know, I don't know, get shot or something, or there's lots of different possibilities. Maybe get cancer from all the stress that he's been through for 10 or 15, 20 years, you know, and just die and then turn and, you know, have Carl be the one to do it and the screen go black. It's the last final scene of you first person seeing Carl do that. That would be brilliant, and that would be my ideal ending. So the third part of this question was, who would you like to see as the leader when humanity starts to rebel? Him. You know, him when you get to that point, but there would be a point where you would kill him off, and I think it would be after he would have gotten this whole organization type society together that can run without him. That you don't always need to have Rick there, but I would like to see him be the one to stir that whole group, that whole society, maybe have a few wars between a few societies, but then as everything comes together and everything becomes one with thousands of members or tens of thousands of people within it, you know, at that point, kill Rick off as the main protagonist. And but also, you know, there's going to be the spin-off series, so that'll be something different in and of itself. And, you know, Chandler Riggs has a possibility if they don't kill him off, which I hope they don't ever, basically, or at least not in the next 10, 15, 20 years of the series, and then have him do his own show afterwards. There's lots of potential. I mean, The Walking Dead right now, the TV series, gets like, I think it's like 10 to 15 million views per episode when it airs, and that's on AMC. There's other shows AMC has, like Boardwalk Empire and all these other shows that have had tons of seasons, Sons of Anarchy and all these other ones. They get like 2 million views an episode, or 3 million or 4 million, or maybe a season finale or premiere will get 5 or 6 million. But they can't even shake a stick at what the Walking Dead TV series does. So for that reason, I don't see why AMC would stop doing it within the next, 5, 10, 15 years. I would view it going on. We're in season 4 now. Season 10, season 15, season 20, and then eventually see these greater, the story of it eventually catch up to where they're at, and then want to shift focus away from Rick and do something like that. But that's my ideal ending. I mean, they could kill Rick off at another time and then have another character take over as the protagonist and go from there. That would screw up everything I'm talking about right now. but then I don't know how you could end it on the same kind of note where it's like, this was a series, this was Rick's series, and in the end it dies with him, and then maybe start a new series with Carl as the lead. Like a spin-off, or just, reset it. So it's season 1 of The Walking Dead 2 or something, something like that. And then you could go from there with some other things. So anyway, great video suggestion. Thanks a lot for that. I know I went on kind of long, but it was an interesting topic, I think, anyway. So let me know what you guys think. Your ideal end doesn't have to be my ideal end. Maybe you want to see Rick get killed in the second half of season 4. There's supposed to be, a character death from the comic books from someone who's alive in the comic books. It's supposed to be pretty shocking, so there's always the possibility they could kill him off. And everything I'm saying right now could be totally bogus and could have no potential of even occurring in the future. Let me know what your ideal end would be to the series. Write in the comments below, guys, what you think would be the best way for them to end it. For me, that's how I would end it if I was writing it. And anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.